Hey guys, it's Will. So hidden within IonQ's trapped ion tech is the power to rewrite the rules of computing itself. But few understand what it truly means for investors, this quantum computing shift. Now, we're dropping this video a little later in the day. To be honest, we were working on Mercatus almost all day today behind the scenes, programming it and getting it good for the future here with the OpenAI model and some balance sheet stuff. It's the first link to get full access or at least see what it's like. The revolutionary new investing system here that is Mercatus, where you can see the breakdowns of different stocks, how they're connected. In this case, we'll be going over IonQ. And also for this weekend only, if Big Bear AI, which is a defense company we cover, it's at $8 this week, hits $10 a share by the 29th, then you get Stockmate for free. If you believe it's possible for them to continue the bull run, then this is a great chance to invest smarter and get into our live sessions on Monday. Let's jump right into IonQ. So IonQ specializes in trapped ion technology. So we're going to jump into our quantum AI watch list. And you can take a look over at IonQ. This is what we know about the technology. They've been widely recognized by physicists, but they're still pretty misunderstood by investors. And to basically build these quantum computers that they're building, they are taking on a huge feat, but could potentially be more powerful and stable than any competitor. And the reason why is because what IonQ is focusing on with their trapped ion technology here is going to be focused on scalability and offering unmatched quantum coherence and accuracy. The thing about their technology that they're building and that they're working with Air Force Research Laboratory, Microsoft, and Google, and you see drug discovery, machine learning, is that they're already integrated with Amazon Web Services, with Microsoft Azure, with Google Cloud. And that's proof right now that the tech isn't experimental. It's ready right now. And they even changed their website to Quantum is now since one of the events where I think Jensen said it was 10, 15 years away, something like that. They were one of the companies that changed it. Now, we're going to get into the financials because there's really three things we look at when analyzing a stock. And the first is the market opportunity. Now, we started covering them back here in October around $10 a share. We saw them surge to about $54 a share by January. The market, right around this time, after this big crash, which was when Jensen said quantum is 10, 15 years away or 30 years away, we went and got to meet IonQ executives, some scientists, and actually see firsthand what it's like. And the number one thing that we took away from IonQ specifically is that their trapped ion solutions are likely to claim a significant market share because they're focusing in a different realm of quantum, and their market of quantum computing is projected by IBM and Microsoft to reach up into the trillions of dollars by 2035. But in the next few years, the estimates are in that 100 to a couple $100 billion, which seems fairly bearish, but that's where we're at. They're in a place where they're one of the top 4 quantum companies, and they focus again in the finance realm. They focus in machine learning. They focus in batteries. And one of the examples they had when they were talking with Microsoft and sharing, they do battery efficiency, and they were able to take 20 years worth of knowledge and get it down from millions of data points down to just 8 options. And within 6 months, they were able to improve the lithium-ion batteries efficiency by about 70%. So they're testing IonQ's quantum computer capability over in Air Force Research Laboratory, as well as in Los Alamos. You got Airbus, Hyundai, they're at the universities. Some of their recent partners include Accenture, Lockheed Martin, You got Dell as well as DARPA. So they're actually working with the Department of Defense as well. Now, IonQ analysis starts to, when we get into, the market looks good, but then we got to get into their partnerships and their contracts. Now, as we mentioned, they have some contracts, and there's going to be a lot of articles, things around the CEO, around a lot of people that are talking about the company, and fairly hype, I would say, when it comes to the stock. But when we look at the financials, this is where things get interesting. They have okay, okay revenues, about $12 million a quarter, and net income a little negative. Where they're really strong is going to be in their balance sheet. They got strong cash positions, and looking at their financials here, they got really good backing. You saw Hyundai, there's Amazon. They got no immediate liquidity concerns, as they have about $850 million in total assets and total liabilities at $85 million. So they're looking good. Speaking of which, Mercatus, that software I was telling you guys about in that first link in the description, I'm really excited to get out these balance sheet projections too that we're going to be using, which will be much nicer than using Google. And also, when you look at the future chart for IonQ, according to Mercatus, in the next 6 months, we could see IonQ surge about 8 to 10%, and it's expected to continue its upward trend and achieve significant growth in the next 6 months. One thing that we noticed, so again, kind of back into the news, we'll get into the technicals in a second, about this article that we were looking at here. Let's see if we could pull it up again. So there was an article that just came out, I think it was this one, was that the CEO was saying that this quantum supremacy, whether it's one of the NVIDIA moments or looking to see them, as Jensen from NVIDIA, the CEO, had some bullish comments on quantum computing last month. The CEO here said that it's coming in quarters and very low single-digit years. And that's getting people, obviously, pretty excited about the fact that we'll be able to do things to help every area of applied science. So in other words, the other thing that they said is we're building the internet. Basically, they're like, we're building a quantum internet right now of sorts, which was interesting. But here's what we got. So financials look great on the balance sheet, but you're looking for more revenue. We want to see more revenue. And then when we go down to the chart, after we saw them kind of sell off here, there was a 3-stage reversal where they found some consolidation here back in March. So very consistent downtrend, holding below the 200-day moving average, started to consolidate from left to right for about 2 months or so, and then began this uptrend. Since getting into this uptrend, things have kind of varied a little bit. We saw it kind of stall out, and actually now you had that trend develop right there, and then now maybe you have another trend potentially developing. And so now we're looking at a few things. The first thing we're looking at here in this trend, and we can kind of now just take an average over out from the overall direction here. So it's kind of the direction. It's kind of the bullish outlook, right? We'd be looking for something along the lines of this resistance here that we see kind of play out for the last few months into May. And this support here, somewhere in here, it's a resistance as well, acting as a support. Maybe we get that consolidation, it sells down, breaks pattern more, and takes some time and holds below that 200-day moving average. Or, that would be the conservative approach. We see it kind of sell back down and maybe take longer, if not have a reversal kind of similar to how we saw down here, but up here. Or kind of the more bullish approach, and that we see quantum really start to continue to catch on. It would look something like this, where this support was validated. Now we're looking at a potential trend that would look something like this, about a 15% margin, and getting back into those previous highs. And that would be really what would be the bull case, right? Getting up into there. Now, the margin for profit on the near term, just looking at the technicals, it could make all-time highs, as we've seen most of the quantum companies recover fully. We saw QBTS make all-time highs. We saw Rigetti start to get back up into these levels around $17. So it's quite possible we see it recover to all-time highs. But again, if you're in the shorter term here, just approach it with a plan. If that means having a stop or setting, a clear plan for going for that 25% margin for profit if it continues to previous highs, then that's a really good, from a technical perspective, there is a lot of institutional interest. But if we see some short-term accumulation, we were just looking at Rigetti a few moments ago, and there's way more increased positions than decreased positions. So BlackRock, Vanguard, and what have you. And Rigetti is another quantum computing company. But if we look at IonQ, and we kind of take a look at their institutional buying and selling, which I love, NASDAQ, they provide a lot of value. But this is another thing I want to drop into Mercatus as well. As we get the balance sheet, as we get other things, can we get the institutional buying too? I'm very much looking forward to that. So we were over here in holders, IonQ, institutional holdings, and you can see increased positions definitely outweighing the decreased positions. Vanguard's one of the top holders, along with BlackRock, and you see them, for the most part, increase the number of shares that they have, and continue to buy more. There's a few instances where you see some sell-offs, but for the most part, we're seeing increased positions. So institutional accumulation is fairly heavy, and we could see it continue. And if we do, then that's the trend. Now we'll have to watch. Things get shaky when you see the president going to the Federal Reserve, or when you see, new things about tariffs that could potentially impact the market. But if we see markets hold, things continue to look good. I couldn't see why IonQ wouldn't continue to build some more awareness around quantum, can potentially make it back into these $50 levels, as most of quantum seems to be on a pretty bullish uptrend. So we'll be watching closely around this level, around $42 a share, with a potential next target here, about $47 on the bullish side. On the bearish side, be careful that we don't get a support sell down to 41. But overall, we're looking fairly certain here with IonQ that the momentum in the trend seems to be holding. We're just going to see if it can continue that direction. Now, when it comes to IonQ or Rigetti or investing in quantum stocks, there is significant upside, but that also means that there could be some significant downside. So make sure you have a plan. Long term, it's great. You get to buy more when it goes down and you just continue to hold. But if you're short term, you're only looking for those things that are shorter term, you got to closely track some of the next moves. And if you want to discover more about quantum investing and insights before the crowd, I would encourage you, join us live at Market Open. We go live every day at Market Open, Monday through Friday. We have targets for the week. You can surround yourself with other investors and traders. I'll even send a free t-shirt over to you wherever you live in the world, as I would love for you to get a Stockmate t-shirt. Now, we got some great insights in here as well. There's been some really good testimonials from some people having some significant returns in Stockmate as a result of our targets. The markets we invest in are growing fast, as most of them are in AI, space tech, and quantum. So that seems to be the focus. So again, if you want to join those markets, it's the second link in the description. Appreciate you all. Hopefully I earned your thumbs up, and do consider subscribing. Comment down below if you got any questions or thoughts about Rigetti and IonQ specifically in this case. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.